In this installment, we're going to be going over Week 18 Sunday Slate. We got a lot of implications here. A lot of teams gunning for playoff spots. A lot of teams not. A lot of backups going to come in. It's going to be wild and crazy. Let's get into it. Hey, yo! Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for your Sunday slate on Draftkings for Week 18. But before I deep dive into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're following me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetChefD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about the Patreon, what you're looking at right now. Patreon has been on fire. The previous day that we got up right here, we had Grizzlies money line, Celtics. The Rockies did not come through, but the Nuggets did. And here's some of the winning tickets that we got from that. Was that Thursday night? If we're looking at it, Grizzlies, Celtics, that came through 50 for 117. And we had another one here. The main plays were Grizzlies, Celtics, Nuggets. We were hoping for the Rockies to come through, but hey, that's a bottom echelon team, all right? So you don't put that much on those type of teams there. If they come through, then great, but you want to go and bank in on the better teams each and every day. As you can see, Grizzlies, Celtics, and Nuggets, all those three came through. And then I had one more there, Grizzlies and Celtics first half. All right, so guys, sign up for the Patreon. You guys need to get geared up for the playoffs for NFL, and then we're going to go right into everyday NBA as well. And also, I will be providing my Super Bowl pick before the playoffs start. All right, so sign up for the Patreon right now. Starting off with the quarterbacks here. Hopefully we cover all our bases here and get on the right plays, because like I said, this is going to be wild and crazy. A lot of teams are gearing up for the playoffs, and they're going to be sitting their number one starters, and it's going to provide upside to these lower tiered salary guys that we're going to talk about as we get lower and lower. We're going to start off with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Motivated Buffalo Bills, heavy-hearted Buffalo Bills here. We'll see how they respond in this game, but obviously they're going to change their mind if the Chiefs wind up losing that game against the Raiders. That can give the Buffalo Bills life to get that number one seed, all right? If not, they're going to be they need to lock in that number two spot and beat the Patriots this week. So you get a motivated Buffalo Bills team on multiple facets here. So Josh Allen at $8,400. When we're looking at matchups against New England for Week 18 with a lot of guys, it depends on situations here, because we're going to see backups, unmotivated teams. We're going to see everything here. In this particular game, Buffalo Bills need to win the game. New England wants to hopefully make it, have their chance to make it to the playoffs as well. We'll go with the stronger and more dominant team here. Josh Allen tends to have no problems in this matchup. Let's look at Josh Allen fantasy points per game against these New England Patriots. Let's just go with this really quick. Josh Allen, DKP by game log versus Patriots. All right, you guys can do this yourselves as well. DKP is Draftkings points, okay? And then we're just going to look at some of the previous matchups here. All right, so we have a mixed bag here. Obviously, 2018, 2019. Then he started to emerge. 35 in 2020, 12.7, 34, and 17.9. So in this particular game, we're probably most likely going to get at least 3 quarters. We'll see what happens after that, but they're going to need to solidify themselves as winning this football game. So we're going to get Josh Allen putting up some points. All right, so I like him. I have no problem going towards him at $8,400 in salary. If you want to double check the matchup, obviously the matchup isn't that great. If we want to look at the numbers, New England Patriots have been in the middle in this last stretch run here. But things have been getting worse. As you can see, 19th overall, 25th in the red zone. So they're giving up touchdowns to opposing quarterbacks. That's going to equal fantasy points for Josh Allen. Have no problem going towards him at 8,400. Let's continue down the list. The Philadelphia Eagles, they need to beat the New York Giants to have themselves as a chance to get that number 1 seed or stay at that number 1 seed as well. Let's just double check this picture here. Yeah, they need to win so they can stay at that number 1 spot. All right. Now, the question mark is Jalen Hurts going to play? So he's currently questionable. If he does not play, then they're going to go to Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew is a good enough backup to get this win because the Giants are not. They're not starting their starter. So no Daniel Jones. You're going to see Tyrod Taylor. You're going to see a little bit of Saquon Barkley. So the most likely we're going to see Gardner Minshew because we're not going to see a Giants team that's going to put out their number 1s, all right? Defensively, they might put up their number 1s. Offensively, they won't. So we're going to wait on news. If Jalen Hurts is going to play, then we can go towards him because the Eagles want to solidify that number 1 spot. But also, they don't want to get him injured. So I think the safer play here is going to be Gardner Minshew. We're going to play him at 5,500. That's another salary saver here that you're going to consider at that quarterback position. There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be very cheap in lineup builds this week, all right? Justin Fields is out. I don't want to go towards the backup here for the Chicago Bears. We want to leave that alone, all right? So Justin Fields is out. Joe Burrow. We'll see how the Bengals respond after that horrific scene that happened on Monday. So they want to – this is a scenario where they're facing a division rival. Even if they lose, they're going to be fine because they can get that AFC North division title off a winning percentage. Technically, they don't really need this game. It hurt them, the fact that they don't have a win after what happened on Monday, so they just staying at that number 3 spot. They're pretty locked in there, all right? So it's like it's either or here. Baltimore might be motivated because they don't want to, maybe they want to avoid the Cincinnati Bengals and go towards whatever AFC South team comes out of that game between Jacksonville and the Tennessee Titans. So that's going to be interesting to see as well. So Joe Burrow, we're gonna. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. I want to hear more news about what the Cincinnati Bengals is going to do from Zach Taylor. So definitely keep this one to the side, all right, about the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow because they are pretty set at that number 3 spot. And I'm pretty sure they want to go in healthy, all right? They can't move up. And they can't really move down, all right? So Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow, we can consider them. I want to hear more news. Maybe we hear a better message coming out of Zach Taylor, the coach, all right? Justin Herbert, the quarterback for the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers don't need this game. If you saw this line, let me show you this line. Let me show you this line. This line moved 6 points, all right? For this particular game, the Broncos, when it first opened, they were 3-point underdogs, okay? Big underdogs. And now, look at this line now. If we look at this game between the Chargers and the Denver Broncos. We're going to go to NFL here. Now, this game is currently... where's Denver Broncos? Right here. Now, right here. So now you got -3 for the Denver Broncos. That's a huge flip. Almost 7 whole points to get to the Broncos at this. The Chargers are in a scenario where they don't really need to play their guys because they're pretty solidified at their current spot as well as the number 4 seed. Now, things can change. If the Chargers lose and the Ravens beat the Cincinnati Bengals, then they can move up to that number 1 wild card spot. So that's going to be a big change there, and that would set them up to face the Cincinnati Bengals. So the interesting thing is they might be motivated going on what happens at that 1 o'clock spot against the Baltimore Ravens and Cincinnati Bengals. Unfortunately, your lineup's already going to be set. So you're going to have to make a decision here. Justin Herbert, we'll put him on the board here because if things go crazy and Los Angeles wants to win that game and stay in the spot where they face the AFC South team and not the Cincinnati Bengals, then things are going to change. And we'll look at Justin Herbert. We'll look at Mike Williams. We'll look at Keenan Allen, all those types of guys. All right. So we're going to put him in the pool. Going to be considered because if, God forbid, that happens, you want to have some exposure to Justin Herbert. So I really got to break this thing down to you because it gets really, really tricky in Week 18 because there's so many factors. All right. Let's continue. Let's speed this up a little bit in the quarterback section. Dak Prescott's going to play in this game. They want to solidify that number 2 spot. Hopefully get a chance at that number 1 spot if anything crazy happens. Let's see any other guys that's going to play a full game and be motivated. We got Geno Smith against the LA Rams, all right? He's going for some accolades here. Geno Smith has been solid all year long. A lot of very good fantasy point productions here. 22, 27, 24. In the previous game against the Rams, he had 27 fantasy points. The Seattle Seahawks want to solidify themselves in the playoffs. So Geno Smith is going to be one of the safer quarterbacks here that should play a full allotment of minutes. Have no problem going towards him. Daniel Jones is not going to play, so we can skip him. Deshaun Watson is motivated to finish the year strong, coming back. He looked phenomenal in that second half against the Washington Commanders. As you can see, 21 fantasy points. He came through with only 9 completions and had 3 touchdowns, all right? Not only did he do that, he paired it with some rushing ability as well. So Deshaun Watson, 5,600. Another great option here at the quarterback position that's going to be motivated. And obviously he missed the majority of the season. He has all this scandal. He's going to ball, right? He's going to ball and he's going to be very motivated to do that, all right? So as he gets more acclimated, he's probably going to have a huge game to end the season and really give the Cleveland Browns something to look forward to next year, all right? Russell Wilson coming off a good game. He's had 2 great performances against the Chiefs, 26.58 and 25.58. Can we get another good game from him? I'm pretty sure he wants to end the season on a good note as well. The Las Vegas line has flipped, so things are trending towards the Denver Broncos. So that's going to be interesting to see how Russell Wilson is going to end this season after a very poor year. Very good performance against the Chiefs. Can he come with a second game in a row? I think he can. So he's going to be a little bit lesser owned. A lot of people are going to stay away from this play, but there is upside in Russell Wilson. All right, let's continue to go down low here. Let's see if we got any of the bottom barrel quarterbacks. Let's see. We have Kenny Pickett here, who's been playing a little bit better. Back-to-back games with game-winning drives. So Steelers want to have their opportunity to get into the playoffs, so they have to win this game. They're going to be motivated as well. We could get a little back and forth here from Cleveland and Pittsburgh. He has the weapons, just hasn't really put up the big fantasy production, but this is the last game. This could be his last game of this season, so we could get a breakout game from Kenny Pickett. He has Deontay Johnson. He has George Pickens. He has Pat Fryermuth. Not afraid to go towards Kenny Pickett at $5,000 in salary. Let's see, anyone else down low? I don't want to bring up Joe Flacco. If I want to choose someone that's really dirt cheap, I'm going to take a shot at Sam Howell, rookie quarterback here from North Carolina. He has ability to throw and use his legs. He could be someone super, super sneaky that I would go towards too. Definitely over Desmond Ridder or anyone else at this price range. Sam Howell is going to be our punt quarterback of Week 18. Let's move on to the running backs. On to the running backs, and in this section, we're going to start off at the top. Christian McCaffrey's at $9,300. I don't think he's going to be worth this price. San Francisco can easily win this game. They got like a third-string quarterback here for the Arizona Cardinals. Christian McCaffrey, they're going to be splitting carries here with Ty Davis Price and George Mason. Christian McCaffrey, they're not going to utilize him at a very high clip because, hey, they need to save him for the playoffs. Obviously, they want to lock up and have an opportunity for that 1 spot here. But they're going to clinch that 2. They just need to win that game and solidify that 2 spot. for them. So I don't expect a full allotment of Christian McCaffrey. He would have to go berserk in the limited work that he's going to get. And I see this game as a very easily winnable game here against the Arizona Cardinals. I want someone that we can get majority of him on that football field. Can Christian McCaffrey do it in a short period of time? Of course he could. But that's up to you to take that risk at $9,300 in salary. Right? Matchup is great. That none of those factors matter. We're talking about a team that's going to be getting ready for the playoffs. Okay. Austin Eckler, same situation as we're talking about Justin Herbert. All right. You're going to have to take a risk if you're willing to play him. They already. It's leaning towards that they're not, but things could change with that 1 o'clock game against the Bengals. Bengals and Ravens are a very crucial game for the LA Chargers. All right, very crucial game. So, Austin Eckler has upside. Great matchup against Denver, who has been struggling. But what Vegas is telling us that things are changing. So we're going to take that with a little bit of grain of salt. Hopefully, we get some more news coming out of the Chargers camp. Maybe we can see if they're going to play more starters or not play starters before Sunday kickoff. So pay attention to news. This is the week to pay attention to news. If you're on the Patreon, I will update you guys on stuff like that. All right, let's continue to go down the list. Saquon Barkley will not be playing much. All right, Daboll already came out and said he's going to limit his starters. There's not going to be Daniel Jones, so don't worry about that. He plans to play, but Barkley is not going to play the whole entire game. All right, so that is another one that we're going to stay away from. Nick Chubb should be fine if you want to play him against Pittsburgh Steelers. He's been very up and down. He started out red hot at the beginning of the season, and now he has cooled off. In a previous matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers, he had 20 fantasy points in this game, and he had 100 yards rushing last week. For Nick Chubb to pay off, he needs that 100 yards, and he needs a TD as well. So, this game against Pittsburgh, they've been pretty tough since bringing J.J. Watt back. So, we're going to definitely, he's not going to be one of our favorite plays, but we can mention Nick Chubb at 7,500, all right? Dalvin Cook, another one. Kevin O'Connell said he's going to sit key starters. Dalvin Cook is going to be one of those key starters. We don't want to stay away from that. We could look at guys like Alexander Madison if they're going to sit Dalvin Cook, which they are. So we could look towards him at 5,100. That's going to be a value play at the running back position. Joe Mixon. This is a tough matchup here against Baltimore. Don't expect much out of him. I'd rather lean towards Tony Pollard, who's $100 cheaper. He's going to see play in this game against Washington. They're motivated to lock in their spot for the playoffs. So expect Tony Pollard. We might get a limited Zeke. So hopefully Tony Pollard can go off in this game and get the majority of the touches before things at the end of this game get out of hand. So Tony Pollard is someone we consider at $7,000 in salary. Let's continue going down. Stevenson is in a spot where he's the number one back, but going up against Buffalo. Buffalo has been giving up some yards. If we want to look at fantasy points allowed to that running back position, the Buffalo Bills have been struggling as of late. I thought Mixon was going to have a great game on that Monday Night Football, but obviously things were shortened because of the incident. But the Buffalo Bills, let's see, the past couple of weeks, 93 yards a game and 4.6 yards a carry. That bodes well for Stevenson, and Stevenson is a dual threat back there. He's going to get double-digit rushes, and he's going to get a handful of targets as well. So 6,700, have no problem going towards him. Let's see. We continue to go down. Don't really like Kamara. He's been horrible for the majority of the season. David Montgomery is not going to be Justin Fields to help him in rushing lanes, but we get a Minnesota team that will be motivated just a tad. They don't move up or down. So defensively, this Minnesota defense has been giving up yards. So we could consider David Montgomery as 6,500. Kenneth Walker is finishing the season strong, making his case for Rookie of the Year. So I like him. We got back-to-back games of over 20 rushes. This is someone that we're going to play over David Montgomery or anyone else in that 6K range. So you see the value. You see Kenneth Walker, Geno Smith. These guys are motivated to play. They're going to play the majority of the game, and they want to get in the playoffs. So I love him at his price there. Let's continue to go down. Cam Akers is finishing the season strong at 6,200. Big turnaround. Big turnaround. We got back-to-back games of over 100 yards rushing. He had 3 TDs against Denver and against the Chargers, 123 yards to pair with a reception for 10 yards as well. So Cam Akers is breaking the mold for that Achilles injury. And I really like what I'm seeing in him finishing this season. All right, so like him at 6,200. Raheem Mostert is a guy that we can look at for the Miami Dolphins. Between him and Jeff Wilson, they're going to be splitting carries. The Jets defense looks unmotivated here, and this is their weakness: tight ends and rushing the football. Okay, Mostert should have a solid game, and he had 8 receptions in this game here, going up against the New England Patriots for 8 targets. Skylar Thompson is going to be the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. He's going to be dumping that football off to his running backs and to the tight ends as well. So I like Raheem Mostert at $6,000 in salary. Miles Sanders is in a good spot going up against these New York Giants. They want to lock in that number 1 spot. The previous matchup that Sanders had against these New York Giants, he had 31 fantasy points, all right? On 17 carries, 144 yards, and 2 TDs. This could be another game where he can do something similar towards that. I like him at below $6,000 in salary. He's been above that price for majority of the season, all right? Tyler Algier, we've been riding this bandwagon. He's something to look forward to next season as well. He's solidifying himself as the number 1 running back for the Atlanta Falcons. 3 straight weeks of over 15 rushing attempts. He had 20 last week, got in the end zone as well, and chipped in for a reception. He is getting the bulk of the work, $5,600 in salary. They've been raising his price a little. I expect him to reach that 1,000-yard mark this week. All right, that's going to be huge for this rookie running back here in Tyler Algier. Late 5th round pick there in Tyler Algier. So I like him at $5,600 in salary. Let's continue to go down a little low. Rashad White. Leonard Fournette is probably going to get not that much work here. Playoff Lenny. They're going to save the veteran, let him rest. They already locked in the NFC South division by beating the Panthers. So you're going to see Rashad White get a little bit more work in this game. He can rush the football, and he's a very good pass catcher. As you can see, the past 2 weeks, pretty much the last 5. We got 5, 4, 2, 5, and 8 targets in these last 5 games. So Rashad White, with his upside in his hands, is going to be someone that we can look towards and save some salary at that running back position. All right, let's continue to go down even lower. Zach Moss is the number 1 running back for the Indianapolis Colts, and this is a matchup made in heaven against the Houston Texans. All right, so we're going to take advantage of any running back getting double-digit touches against the Texans, and that it will be Zach Moss at $5,200. I love him at $5,200 if you want to save some salary. Hey, ownership is probably out the window because it's going to be through the roof on every other person. All right, make sure you're getting a guy that's going to get majority of the touches in a good matchup, okay? So this is one of those rare scenarios on a Week 18 slate. You got a guy getting majority of touches in a very, very good matchup. Zach Moss is a huge love at $5,200. Latavius Murray has been playing very good as of late. He has a 24 fantasy point game. He had 11 fantasy points against KC, chipped in with 4 receptions as well. He's the lead back for the Denver Broncos. They've been utilizing Chase Edmonds as well, but the number 1 guy in that offense, in that backfield, will be Latavius Murray if you want to go towards that in a good matchup or against a bottom 5 rush defense in the Chargers. Let's see if we can find any more gems down low here. Like I said, San Francisco is going to be utilizing backup running backs. That's Jordan Mason. That's going to be Ty Davis Price. I don't think we need to go there per se, because of the fact that it's going to be 2 to 3 running backs that are going to be splitting carries, all right? It's going to be hard to nail it in on which exact guy, all right? For the Arizona Cardinals, there's not going to be any James Conner, so it's going to be Corey Clement. He showed up last week. He got 7 carries for 32 yards. It's going to be between him and Keontae Ingram. Ingram has more upside, but surprisingly, Corey Clement got the more touches on Week 17 slate. Keontae Ingram didn't get any in that game, so that's going to be a question mark there if you want to go even cheaper at the running back position. Corey Clement is the starting running back right now for the Arizona Cardinals, all right? So after going through all these cheap plays here, hopefully we narrowed it down to a few that we can use in our pools. Let's go towards the wide receivers. All right, for the wide receivers here, at the top, we have the Minnesota Vikings. We can cross out majority of those guys, the starters, really. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, we're going to stay away from those guys. Kevin O'Connell already said he's going to sit the key starters. So that's going to lean towards KJ Osborne at 4,700. I think the majority of wide receivers is going to be in that 4K range. 5 to 4,000 is going to be the sweet spot in this slate for Week 18 because of all of the sits and all this other playoff nonsense. It's wild and crazy. So Justin Jefferson, we can put him to the side. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, that's going to be a hard decision here. We're talking about Skylar Thompson here. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are going to have to take advantage of their situations and really have yards after the catch and definitely get it in the end zone. In a similar game where Skylar Thompson played with Tyreek Hill, that was earlier in the season, Week 5. He had 7 for 47, all right? No really deep targets. Everything was close to the line. Tyreek would need to break a long one to really pay off his salary at $8,600. So definitely take that with a grain of salt because you have a very lesser quarterback here in Skylar Thompson. That goes for Tyreek Hill and that goes for Jalen Waddle, okay? For the Bengals, I already mentioned this before. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, all those guys are going to be plays against Baltimore in this game, okay? Hopefully we get some more coach speak from Zach Taylor if we're going to be definite on the starters for this particular game. But Jamar Chase is getting double-digit targets each and every week, so that's going to be hard to fade. All he needs to do is get in the end zone, and he's really paying off your salary at $8,400. T. Higgins at $7,600. I expect him to. I don't know what's going through his head right now. Obviously, he felt better from talking to Damar Hamlin's mom and got comments from her. So hopefully everyone's fine in this situation. Hamlin is recovering. T. Higgins mentally, hopefully he comes back strong in this game, and hopefully he has a good game against these Baltimore Ravens. If we look at fantasy points allowed to wide receivers, let's just look at that really quick here. These Baltimore Ravens, let's see. I think they've been pretty stout. They've been pretty decent against wide receivers here. 9 or 143 yards, 0.4 TDs per game against opposing wide receivers here. But we're talking about T. Higgins and we're talking about Jamar Chase here. All right, so I don't expect them to lock down. There's going to be some big moments here for Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I think one of these two guys are going to go off in this game against Baltimore. So if I had to choose one, obviously I want the guy that's going to get double-digit targets here, and that's going to be Jamar Chase. Let's continue to go down even lower. For the Philadelphia Eagles with Gardner Minshew, I'm going to lean over A.J. Brown and go with Devonta Smith. I think he is emerging. He's been, he's really emerged at this end point of the season. He's become a favorite target, okay, for Jalen Hurts and for Gardner Minshew. Look at the past 2 weeks. We have 25 targets for Devonta Smith. 2 games of over 100 yards receiving and a 2-touchdown game against Dallas. So this man is really, really benefiting from A.J. Brown on the other side of the football field. I love Devonta Smith at 7,500 in this game, all right? Tampa Bay, I don't expect them to start their starters. They're going to rest their veterans there, so we can stay away from that game. Let's see. If you wanted to choose a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, if it's not going to be if it's not going to be Godwin or Mike Evans, you can look towards a Russell Gage. There at 4,400. If you wanted to choose a Tampa Bay Buccaneer in this matchup, he's going to be the lead wide receiver. If you get limited work, which you're going to get limited work from Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. All right. Another pair of wide receivers we can look towards, that's going to be DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. We got a motivated Geno Smith going up against these Los Angeles Rams. There's an unmotivated team here. All the veterans are sitting. No Aaron Donald. Jalen Ramsey is like half of himself right now. So DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett are in very good spots here. We have Geno Smith, who's been playing phenomenally, and he's going to get connected with his number one wide receiver here, and that will be DK Metcalf. So I like him at 6,700. If you prefer Tyler Lockett a little bit more, he's down here at 6,400. All right. Another play here for Denver. We're going to look at Denver wide receivers. I'm going to lean more towards Jerry Jeudy over Courtland Sutton. He's been the more consistent out of the two pretty much all year. Courtland Sutton hasn't done much at all, and Jerry Jeudy is finishing this season strong. 7 for 8, 6 for 10 for 117, 7 for 8 for 76, 8 for 9 for 73, and 3 touchdowns. So we're getting big games from Jerry Jeudy here. So I like him at 6,300 and pair him with Russell Wilson. All right. Let's see if we can find some other gems down low here. Chris Olave, I expect him to finish the year strong as a rookie. In this offense with the New Orleans Saints, he is now the number one wide receiver on this team. He has declined as of late. He was emerging at the midseason. He had a couple of 20-point fantasy point games, but now things are just trailing just a little bit lower. Hopefully, we can get a bounce back game from him going up against Carolina. Mike Evans torched this secondary. Chris Olave can do something very similar at 6,200. All right. Let's see. We got some other plays down low. With Sam Howell, we're going to connect him with two guys. You got Terry McLaurin, the number one wide receiver, and you have Jahan Dotson. All right. Sam Howell's going to put everything on that field. And if you want a sneaky cheap pairing, you can definitely go towards Sam Howell pairing with either McLaurin or both Jahan Dotson and McLaurin. I think I want to get creative in some lineups and consider that matchup. Okay. Let's see other wide receivers down low. Let's see if we can find some gems in that 4K range. As we continue to go down, George Pickens, we compare him with Kenny Pickett. Very up and down season for him. He's shown some bright spurts as well, but George Pickens has upside that can really take over a slate in week 18. So don't be too shy from going away from him. All right, let's see if we can go even lower. I already mentioned Russell Gage. Rashid Shaheed here, wide receiver. He's the speedster, all right? He's been making some big plays, as you can see. Double-digit fantasy points in 3 out of the last 5 games to finish this year. And we're coming into week 18. I can see, yet again, Rashid Shaheed's speed really burning the Carolina Panthers. So I like him at $4,200 in salary. Let's continue to go down low. CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup, that pairing can do pretty well here. Dallas wants to solidify their spot here. Michael Gallup has been playing a little bit better from his injury. If I had to choose, I'd rather pay up for CeeDee Lamb. I feel more comfortable going towards him and Dalton Schultz than Michael Gallup. All right. Let's see if we find anyone else down here. DeAndre Carter has some incentives, so we can expect him hopefully to get some catches here and there. And if they bench or sit Mike Williams and or Keenan Allen because they are already set in playoffs, you can expect DeAndre Carter to get the usage there. Anyone else lower than that? We have to pay attention to news and see which starting wide receivers aren't going to play, and then we can pivot off to those backup wide receivers. So far, I like Carter. I like Rashid Shaheed. I like Greg Dortch here for Arizona. He saw 10 targets and 11 targets the past 2 weeks. He's going to be a sneaky play here at 3,800. This is a gem here. Greg Dortch is getting a ton of targets. He's someone that you can look towards in this week 18. Let's see, anyone else down low? Cole Beasley could be another one. Elijah Moore is the number 2 wide receiver. If you wanted to go with Joe Flacco's going to be throwing that football. We had an injured Mike White the past couple weeks here. Elijah Moore should be solidified. He has a connection with Joe Flacco as well. So hopefully Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, they can play a little bit better and finish this year stronger for the New York Jets. And I think we can move on to the tight ends. If we find out any other news about starting wide receivers not playing, then we can go towards these third-string wide receivers like Sammy Watkins for Baltimore, Noah Brown for Dallas. All these guys, if we find out news about these starting wide receivers, pay attention to news this week as we go into the Week 18 Sunday slate, okay? Let's go on to the tight ends. Last but not least, we are going to finish with the tight end position here. Let's start off at the top for the tight ends. George Kittle is finishing this year pretty strong with Brock Purdy. We got back-to-back games of 2 touchdown performances in Week 15 and Week 16, and then Week 17 he came through with a touchdown as well. They're going to be motivated for a majority of this game. So George Kittle, he's their main blocker as well. We should see him on the field pretty much this game. So I have no problem going towards him at $6,000 in salary. TJ Hawkinson, he could be one of the guys that are going to sit. Like they said, Kevin O'Connell will sit the key players. And as you can see, look at these targets. He's getting Justin Jefferson type of targets, 12 and 16 targets the past 2 games. So be wary of playing TJ Hawkinson this week. Mark Andrews is he emerging, getting ready for this playoff push here? So we'll see. He had finally a good game against Pittsburgh, 9 receptions, 9 targets, 100 yards, and that was with Tyler Huntley throwing him the football. So we'll see. I like Mark Andrews at 5,400, motivated in this in-division matchup. The Baltimore Ravens want to move up and get that number 1 wild card spot and not stay in that number 2 wild card spot. So I like Mark Andrews at 5,400 for an elite tight end there. Dallas Goedert has been middling for the majority of this season. If we're looking at fantasy points allowed to tight ends, these New York Giants are in the middle, or have they been even better? Let's see. The New York Giants are currently bottom 6, bottom 7, 25th overall, 31st in the red zone, 49 yards. So this is a good matchup for Dallas Goedert. We can consider him at 4,900, but the better matchup, the best matchup on the board is going to be against the Jets, man. Pretty much. They have been horrible. The slow linebacker play for the New York Jets has been killing them as of late, and Mike Gesicki is the tight end for the Miami Dolphins here. Skylar Thompson is going to be the quarterback, so hopefully he can get and find Mike Gesicki open in some scenarios here. Let's see how he did against the Jets earlier in the season. He only had 1 catch for 30 yards in that one, and that was with Skylar Thompson. Hopefully we can get a better performance from him in this game. And like I said, the Jets have been horrible as of late against opposing tight ends. If we're looking at it right here, 29th overall, 17th in the red zone, 65 yards. They've been giving up big yardage, okay? So that's going to be concerning, and this is a good spot for Mike Gesicki at $3,400 in salary, all right? Other tight ends here, we can look towards Dalton Schultz. I liked him in this matchup against the Washington Commanders. He got 10 targets last week. Dawson Knox can be considered with Josh Allen motivated and they want to lock in their current spot. And hey, if the Chiefs lose, they can really have an opportunity for the #1 spot. Dawson Knox at 4,200 is nice. Pat Fryermuth has a good connection with Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett is not shy of throwing that football in the middle of the field, as you can see. 3 out of the last 5 games, he has double-digit fantasy points. So Pat Fryermuth hopefully can finish this year strong at 3,800. Let's see if we can continue to down low. Gerald Everett has some incentives for receptions. He needs 5 more catches to get a bonus. So hopefully one of those catches can get in the end zone. So I have no problem going towards him at 4,100. Mike Gesicki, I already mentioned. I like him. Let's see if we can find any other cheap tight ends as we continue to go low. I expect Cade Otton to play the majority of this game. He's a rookie tight end, so I don't see him sitting in this environment. He's at a min price of $3,000 in salary. So if you want to take a shot on him, with all the other options probably going to be on the bench between Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Chris Godwin, Cade Otton is going to see some snaps at the tight end spot for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right. Albert Abuikuna is going to step up as the tight end here with Greg Dulcich on IR. We saw Albert O come back and show some life. 3 for 45 for a touchdown. He's someone that we could look towards in this game against the Chargers. Chargers historically have struggled against tight ends, and he's in a good spot as well. If you continue to go down low, I think that's how cheap I want to go in this pool for tight ends. The cheapest I would go will be Albert O. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetJSD. I'll be back with another video very soon. All right.